Nathan, my mother's longtime friend and her new husband, walked into the room that day, unexpected and unannounced. What followed wasn't just a surprising moment, it became the beginning of an emotional storm that I never saw coming. I always believed Nathan to be a quiet, distant presence in our home. Courteous but reserved, polite but never warm. He was the kind of man who didn't need to raise his voice to be noticed. His silence carried weight, and even though we rarely exchanged more than a few words, there was something enigmatic about him. That evening, my mother Linda had gone out with her friends, leaving Nathan and me alone in the house. It was quiet, almost too quiet. I went to my room to change into something more comfortable, assuming I had full privacy. As I stood near the mirror, adjusting my top, the door creaked slightly open. "Anna, your door's open," Nathan said gently from the hall. That I turned, startled, not expecting anyone. Our eyes met briefly before he looked away. He didn't enter the room, but he lingered just long enough for discomfort to settle in. My heart raced, not out of fear, but confusion. Why had he said that? Why had he stayed? "I'm sorry," he said finally, stepping back and closing the door. His voice carried a strange mix of calm and uncertainty. He left, but something about his presence remained in the air. I stood there, alone, questioning what had just happened. Was it nothing? A misunderstanding? Or was there something beneath the surface that neither of us wanted to admit? The next few days passed quietly, but I couldn't shake the feeling. I told myself I was being irrational, that everything was fine. But I was wrong. Soon after, we attended the wedding of one of my mother's closest friends. Linda, glowing with excitement, was in her element, laughing, chatting, embracing everyone with her usual joy. I wasn't thrilled about going, but the moment I saw Nathan in a tailored suit, something shifted. He looked different. Confident. Charismatic. The kind of presence that drew eyes without trying. As the reception went on, I found my gaze drifting to him more than I wanted to admit. Was it admiration? Or something else? Then, during the dance, my mother twirled away with laughter and left Nathan standing nearby. "Come on, Anna," he said with a teasing smile, reaching out his hand. "Help me save face. Your mom just outdanced me." I hesitated. But I took his hand and as we danced, it was light-hearted at first. But with every step, every glance, something heavier hung between us. "You dance well," he said with a soft smile. "Didn't know you had it in you." I laughed nervously. "I'm just trying not to trip." "Don't sell yourself short," he replied, his hand steady on my waist. "This is more than just a dance." His words unsettled me. Were we just two people caught in a complicated moment? Or was something building that neither of us knew how to stop? The music faded, but the emotions didn't. I stepped back, the sound of applause around us barely registering. My heart pounded in my chest. Later that evening, away from the crowd, Nathan approached again. "I owe you an apology," he said quietly. "For the other day. I didn't mean to catch you off guard." He trailed off, unsure of how to finish the sentence. "It's okay," I whispered. But deep inside, I knew things had changed, and that the road ahead would be full of questions, choices, and consequences I couldn't yet imagine. That it might have been somewhat disrespectful to your personal space. A warmth coursed through me, igniting a flush upon my cheeks. Me gaze fell, yet I yearned to alleviate the strain in the air. "It's all right," I replied hastily, my voice trembling just a bit. "Honestly, it's not a significant matter. Such occurrences are not uncommon." Nathan hesitated briefly, yet his movements remained fluid, his gaze unwaveringly locked onto mine. Yet he pressed on, his voice growing gentler. "I want to assure you that causing you discomfort was never my aim. I simply wished to capture your attention." Me pulse raced. I wasn't uneasy, I replied, attempting to put him at ease. Simultaneously, I grappled with the peculiar exhilaration that was starting to swell within. Metrally, "It is perfectly acceptable." The atmosphere around us grew heavy. For an instant as we swayed to the rhythm, his hand rested on my waist and the sincerity in his gaze awakened something profound within me. Yet the fervor was fleeting as the melody gradually faded into silence. Our dancing came to a halt. "Thank you, Nathan," remarked, a gentle smile gracing his lips. "Your grace as a dance partner is truly remarkable." I merely inclined my head, my heart continuing to race. "Thank you as well," I murmured gently. Swiftly, I made my way back to my table and took a seat. Nathan paused For a heartbeat his gaze lingering on me before he finally shifted to another table, yet in that fleeting instant the unspoken exchanges revealed a truth. What we shared was far from finished. In fact, it had merely taken its first breath, prepared the stage. As Linda re-entered the wedding hall, she came toward us, her face alight with a radiant smile. "What a lovely dance," she remarked, offering her congratulations to you. Both appeared absolutely stunning out there. Her compliment left me feeling even more flustered, yet I attempted to brush it aside. "It was enjoyable," I remarked with a subtle smile. Nathan offered a courteous note, a faint smile dancing at the corners of his mouth. Linda carried on with her words, her hands coming together in enthusiastic applause. "Can you believe it? Following the wedding, the girls and I will be celebrating with a bachelorette party exclusively for us ladies. Nathan, you'll be escorting Anna home, won't you?" Nathan offered a subtle smile. "Certainly, that's not an issue at all," responded with an air of nonchalance. In that instant it struck me just how unjust Linda's actions were towards Nathan. On a night meant for companionship, she chose to walk away, leaving him in solitude. A twinge of unease lodged itself in my chest, yet I suppressed it resolutely. Linda appeared utterly indifferent as her enjoyment with friends took precedence above all else. As the final notes of the wedding faded into the evening air, Nathan and I strolled side by side toward the car Linda had departed with her friends to venture off to another place. As we settled into the car, Nathan turned the key and the engine purred to life with a soft hum. The stillness enveloping us throughout the journey felt almost palpable. I gazed out the window, resisting the urge to fill the stillness with my voice, yet it was Nathan who ultimately shattered the stillness. "Linda, at times she possesses varying priorities," remarked, his gaze unwavering on the path before him. "Yet I find it astonishing how often she can act without consideration. In evenings such as this, one might anticipate the comforting presence of a partner." When his tone was calm and reflective, yet I could detect a subtle undercurrent of disappointment lurking beneath. His words resonated profoundly within me. The image of someone such as Nathan, strong, charismatic, and composed, experiencing loneliness, stirred a deep ache within me. Composed myself and replied, though my voice trembled just a bit. "Indeed, in moments such as the sea touch more thoughtfulness holds significant value." Nathan gave a subtle nod. "You're right," said his eyes unwavering as they remained fixed on the road ahead. "Yet it seems that each relationship unfolds in its own unique way." In that instant an unvoiced bond began to form between us. It felt as though I could grasp and even experience his solitude simultaneously. I grappled with the challenge of containing my own feelings. That fleeting exchange appeared to pull me nearer to him, the connection between us deepening subtly yet profoundly. Upon our arrival at home, Nathan swung the door open and beckoned me to enter. "Good night," he said. Hesitation in his voice revealed that he lingered in the moment, reluctant to part ways just yet. As I made my way toward my room, I observed Nathan lingering by the doorway. An inexplicable compulsion halted my steps, compelling me to turn and confront him. "Nathan," I murmured, my voice scarcely rising above a whisper, "would you care to step inside? Perhaps we could engage in conversation for a bit." Though I could discern the longing in Nathan's eyes to remain, graciously declined. In the wake of recent events, she appeared to carry a sense of reluctance. I extended an invitation to him, a gesture meant to convey that I had moved beyond it all, that it had lost its significance. Yet I found myself withdrawing to my room, endlessly replaying Linda's actions and Nathan's words in my thoughts. His loneliness washed over me, leaving a deeper impact than I was willing to acknowledge. Perched on the brink of my body, endeavored to soothe my racing mind, yet the cacophony of thoughts refused to subside. What was it that kept bringing him to my thoughts? What was it that compelled me to endlessly revisit the moment he inadvertently entered my room? Time slipped away and the silence in the house deepened. Linda had yet to make her return, leaving me in the dark about Nathan's whereabouts and activities. As I grappled with my thoughts, the abrupt creak of my door swinging open caused me to freeze in place. As I raised my gaze, there stood Nathan in the doorway. His gaze radiated a fierce resolve, yet his countenance betrayed an inner turmoil. I sprang to my feet. "Nathan," exclaimed, my voice betraying my astonishment, "what brings you here?" He shut the door softly, yet remained rooted at the threshold, hesitant to venture deeper into the room. Instead, he remained motionless, caught in a silent struggle within himself. "Anna," he started, his voice soft yet heavy with feeling. "Yuri right, Linda, she treats me unjustly. This evening I find myself indifferent to Linda's actions or inaction." She advanced a step, his eyes firmly meeting mine. "For some time I have harbored feelings for Yoha," confessed, his voice unwavering yet tinged with uncertainty. "Particularly following that moment I inadvertently entered your room. It lingers in my thoughts, refusing to fade away." The atmosphere felt as if it had been drained, leaving an unsettling stillness in its wake. Words eluded me, and my thoughts were a tangled web of silence. Nathan pressed on, an air of resolve about him to unburden himself completely regardless of the repercussions. "Perhaps I will come to regret these words. Perhaps I am on the brink of a significant error, yet I find myself unable to contain this any longer." "Anna, you occupy my thoughts constantly," halted, his gaze probing my expression for any sign of a response. Must have perceived the astonishment reflected in my gaze. Advanced another step, his voice becoming gentler. "Anna, You truly grasp my thoughts, perhaps you are unaware yet you truly perceive my presence. That is a feat Linda has yet to accomplish me. Heart raced with such intensity one feared it might explode. The gravity of the moment was suffocating. I found myself wanting to reply yet the right words eluded. Meth stillness that enveloped us was thick laden with the myriad of unsaid feelings. We dared not confront. Nathan finally averted his eyes, letting them drift down to the ground, let out a heavy sigh, and swallowed with difficulty. I am sorry, Anna, he murmured, his voice soft and nearly delicate. I regret having uttered any of this. I ought to take my leave. He averted his gaze and began to stride toward the door. Each step he took was measured, yet it was evident that a weight accompanied him as he extended his hand toward the doorknob. I observed the subtle rise and fall of his shoulders, a reflection of the deep breath he took. A transformation stirred within me. At that moment all my fears and confusion dissipated, giving way to a newfound boldness I never realized resided within me. Found myself unable to allow him to depart. Nathan, I called me, voice a soft murmur yet resonant enough to envelop the space. He came to a halt, gradually pivoted to face me, our gazes locking in a silent exchange. Within them swirled a tempest, a conflict of remorse and yearning unfolding in their very core. For a fleeting instant we remained perfectly still. I turned away, trying to find composure amidst the chaotic thoughts swirling in my head. The soft glow in the room highlighted the exposed skin of my shoulders, while the cool air caressed my body gently. Nathan's gaze bore into me, tense and unyielding. I was acutely aware of his gaze, tracking my every movement, and I found myself unable to tear my eyes away. I haven't forgotten either, Nathani, said my voice quivering, yet the resolve within me was powerful enough to eclipse Aiton. That day, the instant he stepped into my room, everything transformed. Since that moment I've endeavored to stifle these emotions, yet I find it impossible for to hold affection for you. Perhaps I have for quite some time. As the words spilled forth, me heart raced with such intensity I feared it might burst from my chest. Nathan fell silent for a moment, his gaze locked onto Menaeus, if he were attempting to unravel the meaning behind my words. Yet within those eyes I discerned the same magnetic allure, the same inescapable bond that had been stirring within Metonite. I declared, inhaling deeply to steady myself, I no longer wish to battle these emotions. I can't say whether it's right or wrong, but this is how I truly feel. Nathan, he moved nearer, his fingers softly caressing my cheek. His touch was gentle yet intentional. Alas, though he feared shattering the beauty of the momentas our gazes intertwined, it seemed as though the distance that once separated us was merely a figment of imagination. Gently he bent closer, and as our lips connected, that inaugural kiss released a torrent of emotions and long suppressed desires we had both kept at bay for far too long. The intensity of the moment overwhelmed me, but I knew deep down it was something I had to walk away from. The idea of retreating, of halting my progress, never once entered my thoughts. I found myself utterly immersed in the experience. With deliberate care I retreated until the familiar touch of the bed met the backs of my legs, and then I surrendered to gravity. I sat at the edge of the bed, grappling with the turmoil inside me. Observed Nathan's hands. They deftly navigated the buttons of his shirt, methodically unfastening them one by one. Each movement was intentional, as though he sought to relish this memento, prolong its existence. As he finally cast aside his shirt, an air of confidence and authority enveloped the room, asserting his presence in a remarkable way. Advanced another step in my direction, his eyes locked onto mine with unwavering intensity. After arranging his clothes meticulously at the edge of the bed, leaned an inching closer until the only thing that remained between us was the palpable electricity in the air. The atmosphere surrounding us was charged with nothing but fervor and longing. In that instant time appeared to freeze. It was just the two of us enveloped in the singularity of the moment. He leaned over me, and in that moment we forged a bond where we surrendered to one another entirely. It was profoundly moving. A profound warmth blossomed within mesomething, vast and enveloping. This experience was unlike any I had ever encountered. As I gazed upon Nathan, his broad shoulders and muscular physique were unmistakably evident. I shut my eyes and lifted my hands skyward, pressing them resolutely against the pillow, attempting to mirror the rhythm of Nathan's body. In that instant my body tensed with intensity. Nathan turned his gaze toward me and remarked, "You are truly special. I have always been aware of that truth. I have gained a clearer understanding now." Gasped for air. "Indeed you are, Nathani," remarked, a warmth blossoming within me. Sensations seemed to drift in a surreal haze. Once Nathan settled beside me, nestled my head against his chest as I rested against his solid chest. The steady cadence of his heartbeat resonated in my ears. The weight of this moment enveloped me, offering a strange blend of tranquility and deep unrest within my soul. With a delicate touch my fingers glided over his chest, each movement a silent plea for the courage to shatter the stillness between us. "You didn't wander into my room by chance this time, Nathan," I remarked, me voice soft yet laden with significance. I raised my head to meet his eyes, me words compelling him to face the truth while simultaneously exposing the inner chaos I was experiencing. Nathan offered a subtle smile, yet the profound contemplation lingered in the lines of his expression. "Oh Anna," he replied, "this was no mere coincidence. I felt compelled to express my emotions regardless of the challenges it may bring. I averted my eyes to his chest, me fingers gradually easing their motions. Drawing in a deep breath, I began to speak once more. You are truly a remarkable and exceptionally handsome man, Nathani murmured gently. What unfolds next? How shall we proceed? My mother and the others. Nathan inclined his head ever so slightly, drawing me nearer as his fingers wove through my hair with a gentle touch. His voice carried a serene quality, yet it brimmed with deep emotion. I am uncertain, Anna. In this moment the only certainty I possess is that everything feels undeniably real. Your proximity to me is undeniable. His words only intensified the tempest within my it. Paradoxically, his candor brought a sense of calm. I shut my eyes, immersing myself in the comforting warmth of his presence. Even as the shadows of uncertainty about the future hovered above Yuzen, that instant our only option was to connect through our emotions. If you've journeyed to this point, it's clear that my narrative has resonated with you profoundly. There is an abundance of insights waiting to be unveiled, and you certainly won't want to overlook any of it. Make sure to click the follow button, enable notifications, and remember to share your thoughts on this story in the comments. I eagerly anticipate your reflections.